Episode 17, End of Season Awards Special, a four-shot podcast where we discuss all things HCS and some things Halo. I am your Master of Ceremonies, Phelan, and with me I have MC Phade.
Is that the MC or the Master Chief?
Uh, are you on host or
Yeah, well, when I'm on host, I'm quite a god, so I just never get host. It's that West Coast connection.
that West Coast
Anyway, yeah, thanks for having me today.
Avenue? Of course, we are here for End of Season 2 Awards / End of Master Chief Collection Awards. Over some that, maybe we'll do some roster changes, and we have some time at the end. Maybe talk about some of our favorite moments of Halo Master Chief Collection since.
And I'm okay with that.
All right, want to do roster awards first?
Oh, this is the award show. Let's start with the award show. We can
All
get
right.
into rosters and other community rumors later.
All right, let's get things kicked off then with the awards. First award on the docket is Most Improved Player.
Yeah, and just a caveat, typically the most improved usually goes to the shitty player. Now, this is like our up-and-coming type award, our breakout player, so to speak.
Yeah, I think this award is more of someone who's starting to take their game to the next level, and you expect them to maybe jump up to a better team,
Mm-hmm.
if not at the start of the And after some careful consideration, the award goes to Spartan the Dog.
Woo! Well done, Spartan. No, this season, well, both seasons, but particularly this season, Spartan really stepped up. He played with excellence at Atlanta at that first event, and they did pretty well. They upset Noble at the time, and then they ended up finishing top 8 or top 12 though. And then he jumped onto the Team Liquid when that formed, and really, they didn't place tremendously well throughout the events. I think they got top 8 at both of them, just like seventh and eighth at both of them. So it wasn't great, but he showed a lot of flashes throughout those tournaments of just like outstanding play. So I do expect him to be a lot better and be one. Like every game kind of has like one player that really like broke out and like stepped up and like made a name for themselves. And I think for Halo 2 Anniversary, it's definitely Spartan the Dog. So
Yeah, what's really interesting about this is I remember back in season 1 when Great Ripon dropped, or no, it was right before they dropped Prototype from the roster. They were joking around while they were practicing one night about if Prototype doesn't step up his game or something, they're gonna drop him for Spartan the Dog as a joke kind of hit, and it just like they didn't take him seriously and they thought he was a bad player, so on and so forth. And like it was definitely not like any sort of positive thing. It was more of like a jab at him than anything. So
yeah,
to go from that to being someone who's probably the standout player on like he definitely, even from just season 1 to season.
hmm I guess whether you want to admit it or not, honorable mention I think here goes to Randa. He did have some great placings, playing with Winter Fox and everything. Kind of came out of nowhere, but I feel like he was the weakest link on that team, and
Yeah.
I don't know if he would be placing top 8.
I don't think anyone with a Landa Taj
Yeah,
could ever get the award. But I saw
right.
I saw an interesting was a team, must have been back when they were going by team, and it was Randa with the panda image, and then the tagline underneath it was "Fuck is Randa," and I was just like, "This is the greatest team name in tagline I've ever."
Yeah, but no, I mean you do have to give him some credit for it's not like he drug that team down. He just didn't help them elevate their game at all. I don't feel like.
Yeah, I think he was a
Um,
better online
so
player than he ever was online. I don't know,
that's
and I don't know
absolutely
if
true.
that's just
But
coincidence because we only saw 3 lands or was.
yeah. But anyway, so most improved, or I like our breakout player, Spartan the Dog.
Moving on to award number 2 this evening, most underrated player. And now this one I think go probably to a bunch of. I feel like there's a lot of people. Probably every team has one that just doesn't get the respect for the work that they. But based off of the fact of how good this is, um, makes sense that he's obviously doing a lot more than people give credit for. People always think guys playing on the team, but coming from the number one team can't be that weak. So that being said, the award goes to Lethal. Most
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like, again, like you said, it's not about being that bad or like he doesn't get enough credit or that's what it is. He doesn't get enough credit.
yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, he's on the number one team. He's an absolutely like phenomenal player.
Deserves to be
Um,
there.
but but he just gets overshadowed because he's with such huge like icons in Halo esports. Roy, Lunchbox, the Twins, and then Snipe Down. So it's like, you know, when you talk about EG, you never talk about Lethal. But Lethal's a big part of the reason why they're winning tournaments every time. Even like when Pistola was on the team, their placings weren't as consistent until they picked up Lethal. So I mean, that does say a lot about him as a player and as their teammate. He
Yeah,
gets a lot of stick, especially in the past with his like trolling personality on the forums and everything. But no, he's a great player and really deserves all the placings that the EG has gotten.
yeah. I think the big thing here is he's kind of designated his role on that team as the support player, or at least the most supporty of all the players. While Roy and Snipe Down are kind of considered on the Slayers, and Lunchbox the objective player. We mentioned before that they all their roles interchange depending on situations and stuff.
Hmm.
But Lethal mostly takes the support role, and anytime you're a support player, your kill death ratio is not going to be outstanding. You're more there to make sure whatever the team's missing or needs to happen, you're there. And Lethal has shown that he's stepped up to the occasion. Kind of coming out of nowhere, is jumping on the number one team. Everyone was kind of didn't think he's going to last more than a couple online tournaments. They're going to kick him off real quick, and next thing you know, he pretty much doesn't lose.
No, yeah. I mean, they lost a couple of the online tournaments and everything, but just phenomenal player and kind of one of those players that makes things happen for the team. It's similar to the way that Lunchbox is. Opens things up for the rest of his team to make big plays and everything, and a lot of it goes like unnoticed. So, who would you say is your honorable mention here?
Um, Honorable mention
I mean, obviously,
Hines
there's a
maybe.
few. Yeah,
I think
Hines.
Hines doesn't get enough credit for denial. We see a lot of
The, the other thing I'd say
McWin
about
and
Hines is,
Chig, and
yeah, absolutely, because the other person on denial is Chig. Even Hines has a huge following, just being the personality that he has, and on the streaming and everything like that, he has quite a few subscribers and everything. So I feel like he's getting a lot of credit right now. But yeah, he is an underrated player in the sense that APG and McWin and stuff, they get all the name and lights type of stuff a lot of the time. For me, another underrated is Ares. I feel like Ares on Team Liquid is a better player than you almost never hear of him. It's all just ninja on the team. That's what it seems like. So
yeah. I mentioned earlier in one of our podcasts that I think Aries might be the best team skater out there. So definitely a player. Um, what about you? Do you have any other honorable mentions?
no, I mean that would be it. I think. I mean, obviously you could pick one from every team, but
Yeah, I'm pretty
as
sure
far as
you could.
for the league this season or the league or anything, that's the one that I think is obviously. I mean, I'm agreed with you, and I think Lethal number one. After that, you could really go a lot of different ways.
All right. Moving on to our third award of the night, best overall Slayer. And we had a little bit of debate about this on who we were going to give the award to. Um, there's definitely a lot of strong Slayers out there. I think there's a few that's kind of rise above and beyond some of the other people. This person is definitely a standout player on his team. We've seen it countless times throughout the season for his sniping abilities and ability to just go big. Even maybe the team's not able to capitalize it on as much, but no one can deny that his slaying abilities where it got to bring the rest of his game up. And we give this award to Mickwin.
Yeah. Um, you look at the games, just like the stat line that he puts up every single, not obviously not every game, but like most games and most series, he's, yeah, golf claps, I forgot. But every series he's going positive, basically. And in many games, he's just going huge positive. I remember one particular game, um, he dropped like 40 kills on a sanctuary, I believe, and in a sanctuary flag, like went like plus 20 or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's
else is
almost
like plus
unheard
one
of
or
on a
two. Like
sanctuary.
it was just nuts. So I mean, I think just like throughout the season, he's just really like established himself as like one of the premier, if not the premier, just pure slayers in the game. You know, I've criticized on the podcast like his objective decision making sometimes. Um,
This is decision making in general.
yeah, just decision making in general, but mostly when it comes to the objective and whether or not he should be picking it up to help his team or not. You know, finishing running the flag, holding the ball, getting in the hill, whatever it is. I've kind of like questioned some of those decisions. But one thing you can't question is his individual talent and ability to kill people. So, for me, he's the best Slayer in the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, as far as mentions, honorable mentions go, um, I think APG is really close.
hmm
And
ABG, Roy, Snipe Down. You know, tons. There's. I mean, you look at CLG, Snakebite, Royal Two. Like any of these guys, like could be like the best overall Slayer, but I think it has to be Mickwin.
yeah, I think there's a couple people who, right, it's definitely not a long shot that Mick. A lot of people kind of right up there nipping. Moving on to the next award, award number 4 kind of goes along with best overall slayer. We're getting a little more specific here. We have best sniper, and no surprise based on what we talked about. This award also Nick win, or just
Remember my claps this
some of
time.
the sickest sniping I've seen
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
consistently. No, it's not just like flashes. It's consistently at least hitting the body shot, if not getting the head.
yeah, if there's a one player that is gonna be able to make a play basically with the sniper, it's gonna be Mickwin. Um, Especially like his quick scopes. I feel like his quick scopes are like so much better than anybody else. He basically like
The
aims no
control, yeah, his
scope, and then
control is
right before he fires, he zooms in just to get that additional little added auto aim like assistance, you know. But it's just like if it's not a headshot, it's a body shot. Like,
yeah, he doesn't
oh, it
miss.
almost does. Yeah. I mean, obviously he'll miss occasionally, but it's pretty rare when you see him just like flub shots. So, again, yeah, best Slayer, best Sniper. I mean, I think they kind of go hand in hand a lot of time. But for here, um, Mickwin is the best sniper for me.
Yeah. Honorable mentions. Snipe
I
down.
would say Royal 2 and Snipe Down.
Yeah, you got to include Snipe down in the best sniper
Yeah. Yeah,
category. Even if he doesn't
absolutely.
win it, he's got to be up there. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
definitely Royal too. He kind of we always knew he had the ability, but he kind of the next level.
yeah.
So we're going to move on to our next award. I thought about including best BR, but because of all the
I mean, everyone's BR is really good.
yeah,
So,
like wait, MC Halo 2 Anniversary did their BR. It doesn't let people really distinguish themselves all that. So
yeah.
decided to opt out of that award. And so we're gonna move on then. Talked about best overall slayer, best objective player. Um this player is time and time again probably the number one definitely in our eyes the number one person. He always gets work done and then sometimes contributes in other areas just as well. So we give this to Lunchbox prize.
Yeah, Lunchbox, I mean, he's been one of the best objective players for years. Since the beginning of Halo 3 and even into Halo 2 and stuff. So like he's been like one of the premier, if not the most, like the premier objective player like over the last like, what was that, like 7 years or however long. So he does so much like he might not always have the most like time or the most captures or whatever, but that's not all of what being an objective player is. It's also like the way that you're able to
Team focus
um, keep the team
on.
focused on it and everything, but also make plays that allow the team to get objective. Like he's making the objective of focus. So sometimes like he'll make a play that keeps a flag run alive or whatever that allows the objective to be captured. And he'll make the flag run and then throw it to somebody or anything like that, or just being in the opponent's base when the objective's happening. It's like all of that combined, and he's just so good at making his gameplay revolve around whatever that particular objective game is. And for me, that's the biggest reason why he's the best objective player in the game.
Yeah, and that combined with some of slaying ability he showed towards the end, in some parts of me, I kind of feel bad for him with being with Roy being his twin. I think Roy was such a standout slayer that he realized he needed to be an objective player whether he wanted to or not, and so he
Mm-hmm.
just became amazing at it. And then every once in a while, he'll show us flashes like, "I wanted to be the slayer. Like I didn't want this objective."
Yeah.
And then we see that some of those nasty snipes that he can. Like he shows us that his game is all around phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's not just objective. That's kind of what I was trying to say. It's like he makes his focus point whatever it takes to win that game, and most games are objective games, so he's just very good at everything really. But in particular, I feel like he's the that objective player. But yeah, like you were saying, those snipes that he pulled off one game was just like he was going nuts with it, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
Lunchbox can snipe.
no one was expecting it, and he was just tearing heads off.
Yeah, for sure.
Honorable mentions. I think Nated deserves to be up in this category
Yeah,
for some of
and
his, what we saw in season 2 at least.
definitely Nated's his objective play is different than Lunchbox's in some ways. Like Nated's all about like it's almost like pure objective. Like he's has all the time. He gets all the hill time, all the ball time. He's always running flags.
Yep.
Like, and it's like sometimes for me it's almost uh, too objective focused. Like he's trying to do the objective when maybe he shouldn't be, and that's kind of what separates Lunchbox from Nated for me. Is almost like execution rather than if that makes sense. You know what I'm
Yeah, it
saying.
makes sense.
So
But to be fair, I don't think Lunchbox's playstyle would have worked on Winter Fox. I think Winter Fox's like quick
oh
playstyle
yeah,
is the reason Nated had to play the objective.
yeah.
He didn't have time to set things up. He had time to wait. Winter
Yeah.
Fox just runs around. And good or bad, that's just how things played out. And both kind of agree. Lunchbox was
Hmm.
circumstances be circumstances. I don't think anyone's gonna deny that Lunchbox probably the best objective player.
No, the other honorable mention, you could probably throw Hines in there as well.
Yeah, I consider Hines, I guess, more of a support player, but yeah.
Support. Yeah, I can see that. Um, the objective player, Lunchbox, our honorable mention, Nated.
Moving on then to our next award, most clutch player. And when I first started thinking about this award, I had a lot of thoughts in mind. And honestly, the first that came to my mind was general, the way we talked about how whether they were down, whether they got completely outslayed, they would still find a way to win. Like, what's more clutch than always winning? Even when the odds are against you, plays are against you, and down with 2 minutes left, they still win. And obviously, we can't go with the whole team. We have to one. And so, based off of that, we got it down to 4. And at that point, we went down to Roy, winner of most clutch player. He always seemed to be a really great positions. And I think mostly the first thing in my mind is Lockdown King. He seems to always be able to control that top B hill.
The very last hill.
Yeah, the very last hill, which always seems to either extend their lead or get that lead.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely, and a lot of it comes from like his slaying prowess and everything like that. When it matters, he can come up big with a key kill or a big double kill and really turn the tide in a play, which allows them to like really turn the tides in games. And it just seems like if you need a big play, Roy's making it. So that's kind of why I felt like, um, yeah, it's definitely going to be on EG, and then from that team, probably Roy. I just felt like he's always in the right spot to make the play when it needs to be made.
Um, any I guess runner ups.
I'd probably toss Snakebite into the uh, in there. I mean, you see, like I felt like, especially on Warlord, anytime CLG was like things were going right for him, it's because Snakebite was making big plays and making things happen. So I feel like he's a good shout for a clutch player because he's able to, you know, when it in those sticky situations, make something happen that allows that team to, capitalize.
Yeah, another player I would throw in there, maybe just a little bit below Snakebite, is maybe like Flame Sword or kind of Optic, maybe Ace. I guess
Ace,
Ace
yeah,
is probably the better person there. Just someone who stays completely calm in the situation. Like even
yeah.
though you might be losing with only 30 seconds or a minute left, they know what has to be
Ace,
done and
yeah.
don't panic. Um, so
Ace is
I
a real
would,
good shout.
yeah, I would put Ace somewhere up in that.
Mr.
Moving on,
200K.
yeah. Moving on to our next award. Kind of along most clutch, but kind of a little bit more specific. We're gonna go with best play of the season, and hands down, I think the lead horse that runs away with it. Royal Twos, then no moment of Zen on Sanctuary, where he stopped, took a breath, ripped someone on
Someone's
Cloud
face.
Nine. It was Cloud Nine. It
Yeah.
was against Cloud Nine. I can't
Yeah.
remember who it was.
There.
Someone on Cloud Nine's face. I think it was the
Yeah, so this was in Indianapolis, and basically what happened, he has the sniper, and he's like jumping from like ring 3, and he lands on the rocket spot, and someone's there shooting him. And basically, it was almost like montage, like how in a lot of montages they'll like slow down a snipe shot and then like speed it up, and that's basically what happened. He just paused, didn't move, and basically almost waited for Hysteria, if that's who it was, to be in the spot that he wanted him to, and then whipped his shot to that spot. So he just like, basically just, took a breath, like you said, took a breath, and then just like dropped the hammer.
Yeah, he
So
kind of like knew that the strafe was coming, and so instead of wasting time and moving his sniper around trying to chase the strafe, he stood completely still and waited for the strafe to go where he wanted it, and then twitched and took the shot.
yeah, yeah, pretty incredible snipe shot, and
It was
for
kind
a
of a game
single,
changer in the match too. I remember. I think it was
yeah,
like
it
tied
was.
at that point, and then once he
Hmm.
hit that shot, they ran away with it.
Yeah, it absolutely was, and it says something that a single kill can win play of the season. I think the honorable mention has to be the overkill extermination with the laser.
Yep.
So, or I don't know if it was an extermination, but the overkill with the laser. Um, who made that play?
Royal Two or Snakebite.
Was it?
It was someone on
Okay.
CLG. I can't remember. I
Okay.
want to say it was Royal Two, so he might
It might
get
have been
first
Royal
and
2
second
also,
place
yeah.
here.
So, yeah, but big plays out of Royal 2, I guess. So, or the highlight reel right there.
And kind of just to toss in there, kind of um, shoutcasting at that land from Joe Fries.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I can't
And
remember
Legion.
who with, but
Legion.
right, just best weekend of the season. Um, they made
Yeah.
that thoroughly entertaining throughout the whole weekend.
Yeah. That might have actually was that even that might have been season 1.
I don't. It was. I think it was, or maybe no, it was definitely after season.
Yeah.
Talked about it on the show, and we didn't
That's
start the
true.
show until.
That's true. That's true. It was probably like right before Atlanta or
Yeah, that
something.
sounds about right. All right, moving on. Um, kind of moving on to our premier award, so to speak, of the evening. Um, big bad most valuable player, and now this could go to a lot of people. Pretty much all of
Absolutely.
EG is thrown in there. Bickwin with his sniping could be thrown in there. There's
Hines, APG, Snakebite,
probably
Royal
yeah a play
2,
like
like so
similar
many,
to there's a
Ogre
player
2, like
on
so
every
many players.
team that could probably get thrown in there. Oh
At the very least from those top 3 teams.
yeah, sure. Um, and a lot of people deserve it, but at the end of at the end of this, we already talked about it. This person not only can do the objective work, but they can also playing work. Can do whatever it takes. Yes. Um, it goes to Lunchbox. You know,
What? I thought I won.
only when you're off
MVP of the show.
MVP of the show. But this, most valuable player of gonna go to Lunchbox. Congratulations.
Yeah, get those
And
fireworks
yeah,
going.
the fireworks to Lunchbox. We mentioned it earlier. It's he took his game from known as that objective player, just being a great player. Whatever the situation calls for, whether it be slaying, whether it be sniping, whether it be objective work, support, he's always there, always on top of what he needs to be doing. Roy's probably a close second for me here. Um, but yeah, I would say Lunchbox MVP of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of reiterating everything that we said before, that it's all about, his gameplay changes almost every game depending on what the map is, what the game type is. And everything he does is all revolved around making sure his team wins, and his team wins a lot. So, but yeah, absolutely. Like you said, whatever is necessary, that's what he does. And like whatever is needed, he's amazing at.
Like I said, honorable mentions. I had Roy, but pretty much everyone that we listed before we just gave the award away. It could go to any of
Yeah, that's true. But
them. Moving
and then,
on. Or, go
so
ahead.
those are all of our individual awards. This one we're doing off
Our
the seat of
individual
our
good award.
good awards. Right? Yes, there are some other that you don't want to
If
win.
these are,
But
if these are, we're calling these the 4 shotties. A little bit later, we're gonna have the 4 naughties.
yeah, there we go. I like it. I like it. But first, we're gonna do our team awards, and this is a kind of an individual. It's our first team All Pro and our second team All Pro, basically. Um, if we're creating our team, based who the top 4 players basically for a team is kind of what it would be.
And now, are we gonna do this based off of like it's the 4 best players, or the 4 best players, like a couple slayers, a support, and
Basically, you're gonna try and form a real team. You look at
the
like
God
what an all
Squad,
pro
quote
is.
unquote.
Yeah, kind of like what a all pro football or baseball or all star baseball team. You pick bad position,
Yeah,
kind of,
that's what I
and
was thinking.
the positions don't work completely in Halo, but for the sake of the awards and stuff, we'll do that. So, if we're talking about our first team all pro, and we're talking about, I guess, we have almost 2 of those locked in already. Or close to. One of them, I feel like our objective player has to be Launchbox.
Sure.
He's our MVP, so he's obviously going to be in the team. Um, and our runner-up Roy, or our honorable mention for
Yeah, you
MVP.
can't break up
I
the
feel
twins.
like those
You're
twins. Yeah,
forming the
you can't
God
break up the
Squad. You need the
twins. Exactly. Where do you think we go after this?
Let's see. So we're gonna need another Slayer and kind of another support player. So let's go towards support first. I'm
You know,
gonna go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
Okay. I've got obviously lethal just because of how how good he did on EG is kind of
Mhm.
out there. Hines is kind of jumping out at me right now as someone who would probably he's another player who can fit whatever role he, and I
Mhm.
think that's what EG showed. I think better than any other team was that each player isn't defined. They can do whatever needs to be done, and
Yeah,
so and I think that with that being the number 1 team, I think that shows that that's the type of roster you have the best roster, not just
I agree.
a set player for each players that can specialize but also do.
Hmm.
So I'm between Hines and Lethal. I'll let you pick unless you have someone else you want.
Um, no, and I think Hines is a good shout right here.
All right.
I think that he would, you know, it's not saying he's necessarily better than Lethal, and obviously like you put Lethal on the team, it'll probably be better just from the chemistry, the built-up chemistry with Roy and Lunchbox and everything like that. But for the sake of everything, I think Hines deserves to be one of the first team All Pros. Um, and for me, our Slayer type role again, our Slayer that won was Mickwin. However, I don't feel like he's going to be on this first team All Pro team. For me, kind of what you're saying, they need to be more well rounded, I guess. Need to be able to do everything rather than just kill. And so for me, my first team All Pro is Snakebite. I don't know how you feel about that, though.
Um, I'm fine with it. He's definitely shown he can snipe when he needs to. He's we talked about earlier being one of the more clutch players. Roy's already got that and he's already on the team. So I'm completely fine. I think by being up there.
In my big reasoning is that I feel like when it came down to it, and I mentioned a little bit, when uh, things were happening for CLG, it was on the back of Snakebite. Not that he carried the team or anything like that, but he was the one that was making the plays to and just making things happen for that team. And so I feel like he really deserves to be like he's one of the best players in the game and should be on this All Pro team.
I completely agree.
All right, so yeah, Lunchbox, Roy, Hines, and Snakebite is our first team All Pro for the season.
Our God Squad. So
Yeah, for our season. Yeah, and again, this is based on our season 2 and everything like that. Second team All Pro. I I'm just gonna say like real quick. I think that Lethal and Snipe Down almost have to be on this team because
yeah.
so
You pretty much need the other half of the EG.
yeah.
So we have a support sniper, quote unquote, and a player
Yeah.
right off the bat. So we need an objective player and another player type.
hmm
Um,
And I do think that Mickwin should probably be in our second team All Pro. I felt he had a really
I
good
don't.
season.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about
No.
Snipe Down with Snipe Down. Like if we're looking at it from like building a team perspective, I don't think I'd ever want those.
Um, yes and no. I mean, I think Snipe Down's kind of broke in the mold for what he was formerly known as, is basically just a pure slayer in sniping, and that's part of why, like we've said, the EG does so well is that everyone on the team can do everything, and I think he is a lot better over just well-rounded now than he was, maybe in the past with like early Halo 3 and things like that. So I would personally be fine with it, but
I
if we want to do a little bit more like, shoehorn people, then let's go ahead.
I'm leaning towards AP.
Yeah, absolutely. That was going to be the next one I said.
Leaving an objective player.
And let's see. I think that for an objective player, I mean, we talked about Nated being honorable mention, but I don't think Nated is going to be the best candidate here. Um, I think that a player like, I mean, maybe even like Ogre 2.
That's
I thought Ogre
honestly
2 had,
was on my.
yeah, I felt like he had we gave him some stick early in the season. Part of that's just not playing because of the wedding and all that and everything. But I mean, he stepped up again and just showed that he's not done. He is still the goat and everything. So, and he did a lot of the objective work for CLG. Him and Cloud and everything did, and Snakebite really did the bulk of it, and then Royalty did a lot of the slaying. But yeah, I think Ogre 2 is our fourth member of that second team All Pro is a good shout.
Like it. The message set this up. Decide who.
Yeah, have them play.
Yeah, have them fight it out.
Let's see what we can do.
All right, we'll move on then away from our team
The four
awards
naughties.
to the four naughties awards. First up is Miss most disappointing player.
Yeah, you get the four naughty for host.
Not wrong. Most disappointing player. This I think
Just a caveat: this is in game.
Yeah, this is completely in game, not based on personality, not based on things outside the game, not based on streaming, nothing along those lines. Completely, game. And this person, I think, might have even gotten the half season award for it at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, and he showed flashes with his team, and his team showed flashes, but when it counted, never were really there. And so, we're giving it to Flamesword, um, most disappointing player. And in all reality, it kind of could be Optic in general. But if we're picking a specific person, I'm gonna go with Flamesword just because he's the captain of.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we talked about it again at the midseason awards or predictions, basically, and he's been doing some incredible things for himself and for console esports. Whether it's being in men's fitness, getting on the Red Bull can for Destiny and things like that, and representing Red Bull in general. He's been in his YouTube content like he's like the best YouTube make like personality, I guess, for Halo.
I mean,
But as
he's
far as his
competing
in game,
in he's competing in the National Halo Championships, but he's sponsored by Red Bull for a completely different game. So
yeah,
that just goes to show, like, he's multi.
yeah. So amazing things that he's doing outside of the game, but as far as it goes, just strictly in the game, yeah, Flamesword, I felt like did not have a very good season, and I feel like the only reason, I'm not going to say the only reason, but one of the main reasons that Optic was able to maintain like their seed basically and everything, and not get like knocked out by one of the like into the like ninth seed or anything like that. It's kind of the way the formatting online worked. They did have some top four finishes online, so you have to give them a little bit of credit there. But or if there's more LAN events, maybe they wouldn't have. I don't know. But Flamesword most disappointing for that team, and the team being the most disappointing of the pro teams. Yeah, I think Flamesword has to be the most disappointing player of the season.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I would be lying if I didn't say I was a little influenced by um them falling
Yeah,
out
that
first round.
too. That too.
Obviously, we keep those things separated. That's Halo 5. This Master Chief
Yeah.
Collection. This is talking about. But I would be lying just a little bit if I said that didn't influence. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the standout players on that team were this season were Ace and Maniac, but
Oh man, we'll talk about you a little later, bud.
all right.
All
Um,
right. So then moving into what want to do?
no, we don't need to pick
Don't need to
out
bring
more
it. Don't
people.
need to talk trash about anyone else. We'll move on then. Um, our last award of the that Phade knows about. That
Oh,
is most overrated player, and this player also got the half season award. Um, and when it comes down to it, most popular Halo person that current. Well, I can't say most. Yeah, I would. I'm gonna say he's probably the most at this. And just for as much time as he puts in, and for as much fanship that he has, his finishes, they're never where they need to be. And this award goes to Ninja.
yeah, and this isn't us saying that Ninja's not good. Don't mistake that. Ninja's a great player. I mean,
Better
he's
than
on a pro team for a
me.
reason. Yeah, not better than me. I'm better than everybody. But no, he's a great player. But when you're talking about like the absolute best, these top eight teams, and based on how much following he has, basically, is what you're talking about. The thousands of people at one point that he had subscribed to him on Twitch. The hundreds of viewers. If he's streaming, he's probably has the most viewers. Nated might now because Nated I feel like has been streaming a little bit
And Ninja
more
still
recently.
slightly overtakes him by
Okay,
maybe
so
100 to 200 people.
oh wow, okay, so yeah, Ninja. I mean, he's I guess pretty far ahead
And
in
he's still
terms
ahead
of
in
like
subs, I'm pretty.
his Twitch numbers and viewers and everything like that and fans basically. So um, for being the most popular, he's not the best. And there's quite a few players that are better than him that don't have nearly the following, and basically, and part of this is the what his fans say a lot of time. They think that Ninja's a god and the best player in the game and stuff like that. And that's why he gets it. And again, not because he's not good.
Yeah. Um, yeah, everything you said, I completely agree with. He's obviously a pro for a reason, and he's been a pro for a while now for a reason. It's just for all the love and fandomship that he has, it definitely isn't, proportional to performances.
Right. So, what are these other awards that I don't know about?
So it's not really an award. Kind of is, kind of isn't. But we're gonna do the first round of Four Shot Podcast's official Hall of Fame induction.
Ooh, I like it. So, how does this work?
So, it can be any player from any
Is there is there
Halo.
okay?
We're gonna do. You want to do maybe 3 players? You
Yeah,
want to do too
three
many?
total or
Yeah, we'll do 3 total.
okay.
It can be from
Um,
any Halo. The only I would say rule is that they don't play anymore that
mhm.
we know that we know of. Like if it's someone who's planning on coming back or that currently plays, obviously they're dismissed. But if it's someone who, um, as far as we know, they're done. They're fair game. So like T2, as far as we know, done. We haven't heard anything about him coming back. So he might, but as far as we know, he's not. So I would say he's a candidate. Or we could say, it has to have been at least a year since. And go off that. Kind of up. However you want to do it.
I mean, typically with other sports, there's someone that hasn't played for a little while, and I do feel like there's a good chance that T2 does come back. So I want to hold off on that because you don't want to pull him out of the Hall of Fame if he comes back. But otherwise he would be an automatic uh, inductee.
So I'll let you go first. How about you go? I'll go, and
I mean,
then
this
we'll
is
come to an
easy.
agreement.
That's fine. I'll take the easy one. I mean, the Godfather of Halo, old man Rivers himself, Walshy.
Figures as much.
It's pretty unanimous. Like it, he's like the Hall of Fame guy right now, basically. And it's great that we still have him in the community doing the shoutcasting and everything.
Yeah, and even
But
his podcasts that he does.
yeah, for sure. If for people that don't like are newer to professional Halo and stuff like that, Walshy's been like the guy basically since Halo One, all
The
through
old
Halo One and
man.
Halo Two. Yeah, he was on Final Boss or Team 3D or STK, whatever it's been called. Consistently finishing first for all of season Halo One and Halo Two, and then moving into Halo Three. His placings weren't as good. Um, he floated around. He got a lot of second place finishes, or he won the first Halo 3 event, and then got a lot of second place finishes after that with Team Instinct. Different players on that team, the twins like Soviet and some other players, and then he jumped on Carbon at one point even. Um, but then he just kind of started dropping down the ranks and ended up getting those 7th, 8th, top 16 placings even, and then just decided to call it quits. And he's coached some events, done well at that, and then now doing the shoutcasting, and he's one of our best shoutcasters by far.
Coached at the
The
one
Invitational.
invitational.
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah,
Your
so
good job away from you.
yeah, dang it, Walshy himself is inductee number 1 into the Halo Hall of Fame.
All right. For me, then, I'm not gonna go too far up the river, so to speak, with my pick. I think this one's kind of a given as well. Um,
It is.
it's Walsh's teammate from 3D and STK and Final Boss, and recently married, he having a kid, lives in
Strongside got married?
what?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
uh, lives in Australia now, which is awesome. Quite a kangaroo for me. Ogre one, he's considered, if Ogre two's the goat, Ogre if Ogre one was still around, he would,
He's the belly goat. He's the
yeah,
baby goat.
if Ogre one was still playing, he would be right there, hands down. fighting with Ogre 2 for that title, greatest of all time. We'd probably, they'd have to share it. But
I
when
mean,
he
it's
was
similar to how
around,
Roy and Lunchbox, they're gonna have to share any like
yeah.
recognitions they get,
If
basically.
you look at even if you look at just Ogre 2's winning record and like he has over like 20 first place finishes in official tournaments or something like that. Ogre
I think
one,
it's close to 30.
yeah, it might even be closer to 30. I can't remember. I know I looked it up at one point and I
I
was
mean, they
just
had like I
astonished.
think they had 14 wins in 2005 alone.
Like, yeah, when you look at like even back in Halo 1, they the 3D or STK or whatever they're going by, they would win the two tournament with the Ogre Twin on one side and then Walshy and Saiyan on the other side. One they would win one. They would go 1-2. Usually Ogre's going one, Walshy going two, and then as a team of four, they would win on top of that. So like they were just stacking wins, Halo 1, and
Hmm.
continued that into Halo 2, and then more or less continued that into Halo 3, and so his win ratio is off the charts. I
Yeah, just a little plug in there. I believe that they also won a Shadowrun event.
They did. I remember
The
that.
the
Yeah,
ogres and
yeah.
Walshy.
They went
So
back to STK for that.
yeah, it was ogres, Walshy, and someone else. It wasn't Saiyan though. It was like a non-Halo player, but
Yeah, Ogre One is second inductee.
yeah, definitely.
So it's gonna jump back to number 3.
I just get to pick.
Yeah, as long as I agree.
Okay.
I mean, I can't imagine that I would deny it too
Yeah. Then I think my pick is gonna go
much.
to. No, not Shook One. Yeah, he's a rapper now though.
Is he like
Uh,
successfully?
semi-successfully, but
Yeah. I
yeah,
remember like got his name tattooed, gamertag tattoo back
yeah,
when he like everyone's like, that really just happened.
yeah. Like I said earlier, the other candidate would be T2 easily, but if we're gonna hold off on him because there's a chance that he could be coming back, I'm gonna go with Shockwave actually. Um, yeah, that would be it. For me, it's between
Over
Shock.
for Gandhi,
Yeah,
Karma.
Karma would be the other person. Just based on his 1v1, how many FFA/1v1 tournaments he won. But for me, it's Shockwave. He was the captain of Carbon, and I felt like one of the bigger reasons why they were able to kind of dethrone Final Boss in 2006 and take that championship.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue.
That's for me at least.
I mean, I'm not
Um,
gonna argue with it. He's a fantastic player, and I mean, at this point, just like in any sport, there's a lot of players who probably deserve to be there,
yeah,
and there's probably after Walsh and Ogre won, there's a little bit of a drop off on that
definitely.
you that people don't have those 30 or 20 plus on their back.
Right. Yeah, definitely. But for me, that's where it is. Honorable mentions for this other spot are, obviously like strong side, potentially Saiyan, the Halo One guys like Zios
I was
and
gonna say
like
Xiles has to be up there. So
yeah, Clockwork, Strange Purple, like those guys, and then even like Element Warrior,
so I was gonna,
stuff.
if
So
you said All Might Warrior, I was gonna shut you down because I've heard rumbling that he
that he might be
may
coming. Okay.
may become, or
I
nothing
heard.
definitive.
Yeah. Okay. I heard differently.
I mean,
Talking
yeah,
to us.
no one knows.
Yeah, talking to Assault, he told me that the chances of Element coming back was pretty terrible. But or not terrible, but he's like, I don't think he'll come back. He's pretty busy with his. He works in finance and stuff like that, so I guess he's pretty busy. But I mean, he finds time to coach,
I
so
mean, if
it
you're
seems hard
for
to
a
believe
million
that
dollars,
that's true.
a
Yeah, it's true.
million
So
dollars
we'll see.
plus whatever it comes out to be. Yeah, we don't know what it's.
Yeah. I actually, I'd be surprised. I mean, if he has time to coach, then he has time to like play too. So
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a bunch of people, and
mhm.
we'll definitely
Neighbor, like
at
other
the end of
guys
season
too.
3,
So
we'll have to do a round 2. Um,
yeah, and add some more. But
add some more, but that's our initial 3 are Walshy, Ogre 1, Shockwave. Kind of all like, even though we
it's
mentioned
kind of
Walshy and
like
Ogre 1
classic
were,
Halo 2.
yeah, I was just say even though Walshy and Ogre 1 were big in Halo 1, they really hit their stride in Halo, and same with Shockwave. But
Hmm.
like it's something that with the fall of Halo 2 anniversary, we tip our caps to the Halo 2 classic.
Yeah. Look at that segue.
That segue. All right, that's gonna do it for.
Oh, one more award we totally forgot about. Thank you, EXO.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
best coach. I mean
I
that's
wanted to
pretty
put that
easy.
in, but I thought it was like there is no runner up. Yeah, it's Towie. Best
Yeah,
coach,
Tally.
best magical pair of pants,
That just
or
pull out random chords
all random
and
things. Best timer,
hop
best
or what are they best or he pulls out hand warmers out of his pants and everything.
best bench press, whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Towie's.
Well, best bench press, I think that's probably Assault. The dude's jacked right now.
That's true. As far as coaching goes, we've
Yeah.
talked about in the past. Towie is miles ahead, and
Yeah.
maybe as far as what he does as a coach, there's other players at that level, but the amount of trust that he has with his
Yeah,
miles ahead.
that's unparalleled. So, yeah, I think that's the conclude our awards and our Hall of Fame induction.
And that's really gonna conclude it for Master Chief Collection and Halo 2 Anniversary. I don't think we're really gonna be talking about it after this.
Yeah, I mean that's it, I don't think so. I mean, the only thing that there is left to talk about, I mean, it's all looking forward now from here on out. Halo 5 and what's planned for there. What players are doing, the teams are moving, tournaments are going to be coming, all of that type of stuff. So uh, I guess the big tournament or the first real tournament is going to be 2 days after the launch. And that's
IG Daytona, yeah.
Iron Gaming Daytona, a $10,000 tournament, so not a huge prize pool. The winning team will probably
Not
get.
that big of a prize pool.
That's what I said, not that big.
Oh, I thought you said another big. Sorry.
No, not that big. So first place will probably only get like 6 grand. That's my guess. So
Yeah, yeah, that's probably
usually first is about
631 is what
60%.
it'll be like
Yeah.
60 probably.
So, not huge, but it is nice. We'll get to see some tournament action if everyone's not playing the game. So, um, hopefully, the game
Yeah,
is working perfectly out of the gate.
we don't
Otherwise, we could
expect.
run
I
into
mean,
some problems.
if the beta has showed anything, at game looks ready enough.
Yeah,
So I don't expect there to be too many hiccups. I expect to see maybe more problems with settings and maps and just a lot. It takes
yeah,
time for
that'll be
pros to
interesting to
figure out what
see.
maps they want to play on, what settings they want, what starting weapons they want. That always takes time for the pro scene to figure out, come together as a community after playing a little bit, and what they all
What works and what doesn't.
what works and what doesn't. And not really gonna have that. From that standpoint, it's gonna be a little bit rough, but and I also think maybe the fact that we're not gonna see a lot of the pro team, or maybe I think we're gonna see a lot of mashups. We're not gonna really see any full roster. We're gonna see a lot of like half rosters.
It'll look a lot like AGL days, I think, in that first tournament because it is 2 days. A
Or
lot of these
possibly,
pros, a lot of these pros are especially the big streamers. I feel like probably won't go
I don't see Ninja
because they're
going.
gonna get such a huge boost from those first couple days. Where there's gonna be a ton of hype for Halo 5, lots of people watching. So I feel like a lot of the streamers, even the guys like Roy and Snipedown who are streaming more now and stuff, probably won't go. So it'll be interesting. It'll probably be mostly local people, local to the Midwest that end up going.
Well, it's in Florida, so it'll probably.
Daytona's in Florida. That makes sense. For some reason I was thinking it was in
Yeah,
Indianapolis
it's in Florida, so it's gonna
or
be
like
like the
near
south,
Indianapolis.
southeast.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure.
Well,
Like when I think of pros, I don't even know of any that southeast.
yeah. I think Arcanum's from Florida.
Maybe
I don't. I could be.
Arcanum
I don't know
represent.
why. He could be totally. I could be totally off on that, but for some reason I feel like he is.
So I mean, overall, I don't expect any. I don't. I can't even. The only chance I see is if it's a brand new team practice.
Yeah. Something.
So, I mean, yeah. So along those lines, we'll jump in some roster stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. Nothing
So
official. All rumors at this point.
yeah, everything on the hush and hush. I tune into pretty much on a nightly basis. I pick a little up here, a little there. Kind of piece it together. So the first things first, I think it's pretty much official. This is probably the most official thing I'll say is that Denial doesn't have their
Yeah. APG and
roster's gone.
Hines aren't denial anymore,
Yeah, we
and
know
neither are Miquin
APG
and
and
Chig.
Hines confirmed aren't a Denial. As far as Chig and Miquin, I haven't heard anything
They're
official.
not denial either.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they're not denial. So, what we know is that rumors have it that denial is going to let Alum Knight, who was he's always been a part of the denial string and a sub. Um, they're going to let Alum Knight be captain of the room.
Oh, good for him being able to come in and compete again. So
That's have that. Let's see. I saw Nated playing the other night. We've heard a lot of rumblings about Nated on some like they seem like a good player. They seem to belong really,
hmm
which is I think important for Nated. Nated when he's on a team, kind of what we show with Winter Fox. If he's on a team that doesn't get along with the players, it causes problems. So
yeah,
if he's at least on, gets along with his teammates, he's gonna perform a lot better. And he seems to get along with Goofy. But I saw him playing with Frosty the Truth. Great second, and he had in his title hashtag team. So
oh okay,
take it for what it's worth. It could just be a joke that a bunch of
yeah,
misfits, but um, they were playing
yeah.
together.
Just to Frosty the Truth is not the same Frosty from Excellence. It's so Frosty,
Yeah,
so a
it's the
different
Frosty
player
that
there.
straight stick team on active.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Um, we already mentioned that APG said he and Hines left denial and joined. Okay. Yep. AB in Native's chat or chat. I can't remember whose chat it was in. Um, but APG said that he and Hines have left denial officially, and that they have joined another org and have a team, but can't say anything about it.
Yeah, and a lot of that's probably just formalizing contract stuff with the org, and the org wants to announce it and all that type of thing that we kind of saw at the end of season one a little bit.
Yeah. So as far as I know, um, people are trying to find out if he has a team or not, and we don't 100% know. But he hinted that he has a team. So I'd say he at least has, if not all four players in mind. Um, we don't know what the team. It's kind of been to kind of go into the next section. X. I'm not really sure who he has something to do with Optic. Said that there would be a new Optic Nation team that most likely from guess that Formal on that possibly no. Formal's a little bit more solid in the fact that he's back more. We haven't really heard about Enable locking anything down yet, so to speak. Um, so I would guess off the top of my head, if APG and Hines were willing to leave um, denial after being the second best team, they're gonna probably be going so strong, or at least an organization that's really well known. So
hmm
my money would be on them going to Optic Nation Formal, possibly.
Yeah, yeah, and Formula Enabler coming back, that's awesome. Your mic working?
Um,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry. Let's see here.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's nothing really else. It's all like just complete rumors. Potentially Pistola off of Cloud9. I don't know if that's being dropped or leaving, but again, just zero evidence, just like people rumoring it. Um,
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that we've heard a bunch about it. Like everywhere I see is just like, oh, Pistola left Cloud9, but is the Cloud9's page still has him listed? He still has Cloud9 as a sponsor on his Twitter. I haven't heard anything official anywhere. It just seems to be the rumbling. So I mean, if he has left, he could also be that fourth instead of Enable on the Optic team.
yep. So it's possible. Speaking of Optic, I mean, I think that's about it for our rosters, but Maniac. So what's
So
up with this the drunk stream?
So Maniac had a birthday, and he
No
decided
way, he had
to.
a birthday?
He had a birthday, and he decided
Wow.
to do a money for shots, $20
Oh,
for shots. And he had some big donators. I think so. I want to say someone dropped $1,000 bomb.
did he die?
Uh, I'll get there. So first and foremost, what I would like to say is that Twitch has officially released in the terms of service before this, I think about a month or two ago, that you can no longer accept donations or subs for drinks. According to Twitch rules, that's no longer allowed. That's against TOS.
Yeah.
First and foremost. So he's breaking rules there. You're a Halo. You're kind of a smaller stream. No one
You might
it's not.
not get caught.
Yeah, you might not get caught, and he might. He doesn't stream that much, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know.
The thing to know about that though is that one of the people that's like works for Twitch and very involved in everything, Say Ocean is a big Halo fan and he comes from the Halo community,
I mean,
so
so
he'll
is
probably find out.
um Golden Boy, doesn't he? I'm pretty sure he works for Twitch or does something for Twitch too.
Yeah, so Golden Boy and Say Ocean, Kelby, other people know him by now, but
Yeah, so there's definitely people out there who at least know or work for Twitch and are affiliated with Halo. So, that being said, he was doing a bunch of shots. He was dancing, having a good old time, and then he decided to start rapping. And that's fine. He's singing along. I want to say the person's name was like Meek something. I don't follow rap, and it's someone who hasn't been around forever. And he was like depressed that some rapper like doesn't rap anymore. And I thought he was gonna break down crying at one point. It was just getting rough, but he was singing. He was doing some raps, and the raps may or may not have had the N word in them, and he may or may not have sang the N word parts. Um, so that happened as well.
about how many drinks do you think he had?
By the time I came in, he was basically done with the drinking. So I don't know how much he had, but if he was doing $20 shots and then the $1,000 bomb came in, I mean,
Well, I mean, he would die. He would literally
yeah,
die.
let's just say I don't think he's gonna remember that night, or he
Yeah.
remembers that night. I'm
I
willing
mean,
to bet.
I'm willing to bet he didn't do 500 shots. So,
I think he meant 50, but
do I mean 50?
500. That'd be times two, not times 20.
I'm just thinking like probably not 500, but he
Well,
probably if he got $1,000 donation
that's 50 shots.
plus other stuff, right?
Yeah, plus
but
other
plus
people were
other
donating.
stuff.
So I mean, I'm willing to say he had to be probably. I mean, I don't know, but I would guess at least in the upper teens, mid teens, somewhere in that
Yeah.
ballpark. Like he was definitely
Which is a lot. So
he was
I think-
gone to say the least.
Yeah.
So on top of dropping some N words, he basically blacked out on the stream. He actually passed out. Like he was just sitting there like this, and then all of a sudden, wham! You just see his head drop. He's out cold. Like people are like pretty much every pro that's on APG, Lethal, Ace was even in there. Like everyone was trying to call him, get his attention. They were trying to call Flame Sword to come in and help him, and like they couldn't get a hold of Flame Sword. Like it was just everyone realized that bad things were happening, especially when he started dropping N-bombs in the song. Like he wasn't saying them maliciously;
Yeah.
he was just singing to a song. But it's still something you kind of don't do.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And there were things floating around in the chat. Like I don't know how true they are, but people were like, I think it might have been Lethal saying that Flamesword has been looking for a reason to let Maniac go off the team, and that they needed to get his stream shut down before it got too out of control, and it gave Flamesword excuses. But after what I saw, I would say it's more than enough. If Flamesword wanted to let him go, they could. It was definitely not a well representation of Optic Halo or Optic in general, such a pristine organization, and then just breaking the Twitch terms of service on top of that. So after he passes out, it's like 5 minutes. It had to be like 10 minutes go by. He eventually wakes up, kind of just like, you can tell he has no clue what's going on. Looks around, everyone's just starts cheering in the chat because he had come to, and then he goes back out again. More people are subbing and donating, trying to get his attention, and then eventually, two of the people, he's in the Optic house, so two of the people in the Optic house, I don't know who's there. I assume they're Call of Duty players. Come up and shut the stream down and put him to bed, and then I saw a post, a Twitter thing, either the next day or the 2 days later, of a Make-A-Wish where someone came to the Optic house and he was in the picture. So we know he's alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, a rough showing for Maniac to say the least.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't know if that's a good birthday or a bad birthday. So
yeah, I'd say he enjoyed
it. It was good for a while and then probably not as good
but
afterwards.
yeah, Optic Halo may be looking for a fourth.
Yeah. Phelan's available.
Phelan is 100% available. So yeah,
Well, I think that's all we got for today.
yeah, unless there's anything else you want to talk about or discuss quick.
I don't think so. And we're probably going to be every week from here on out, just because we don't have much to talk about. Um, if we get a substantial bit of news, we'll do some short shows probably, but definitely no longer things left for us
Yeah,
for
I
season
mean,
two and MCC.
unless there's an invitational
Right.
that happens before um, the IG Daytona. IG Daytona is really our next big thing. Yeah, I mean that's right after release, so we're not going to see obviously no online tournaments before then. So
Right.
unless there's some sort of preseason invitational, yeah, it's going to be a lot of just speculation in talks going forward. Just we're going to probably discuss Halo 5, what we saw at Gamescom, maybe a little more in depth. Some things that we're looking, just general Halo 5 discussion, roster things
Hmm.
around Halo in general, going forward. And so yeah, I mean, as far we'll plan on having a show next week. Don't know what we'll talk about yet. Maybe we can get some people on and we can have a nice round table
Yeah.
or something. We still gotta try to get some interviews. Maybe you guys
Yeah.
set
Maybe
up a
what we do.
lunchbox interview, and so we can present
Yeah.
him his
Award.
trophy.
Right. Maybe what we'll actually do for you know, we can try and get some recorded gameplay and then just do a commentary on a gameplay or two every week.
Yeah, yeah. We'll figure it out. Uh, let's see. Oh, chat's a little interesting. Let's see here. What does it matter if he got publicly drunk as long as he's performing? What difference does it make? Ridiculous. Flamesword isn't going to give Maniac the boot for a bit of merriment. No, it's just um to answer
It's more
that.
about yeah. It's not about being drunk. It's about breaking the rules of Twitch and potentially offending people.
Yeah,
And
it's not.
we're
It
not criticizing Maniac here.
just like stars. Like if some famous person was to drop a white person was to drop the N word. It's is unfortunate as it is. People that are more famous and more important are held to a higher standard than people who are not. And
Yeah, I can kind of compare it to. I compare it to Riley Cooper. If you follow the NFL,
yeah,
Riley Cooper is
he's
the
great.
wide receiver for the Eagles, and he got drunk at a concert, and we're like, I think he
He
said
definitely used the
some
N word.
racially, yeah, some pretty bad racial stuff that he said while drunk and everything, and he got in trouble for it because, like you said, when you're pro or at anything or
When you're
you're
in a
famous, you kind
spotlight,
of have to,
yeah,
yeah, you have to hold yourself to a higher standard almost.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just it's not. I would definitely say it's not what the Optic organization wants representing them. Not to say that they're going to kick them off for it, but at the end of the day, when
yeah,
Optic lays out how they want people to represent them, I would say dropping the N word is not one of those things.
yeah, and to be fair, like I don't necessarily think that Flamesword's going to kick him off either
Yeah, I
for
don't
that
think so either.
reason.
I think those were just
That was
people
kind of a
trolling.
comment, like a rumor that hey, he wanted to kick him off already. He can use this as an excuse. Um, and like I said, I don't think that there's really anything wrong with getting drunk on the stream at all.
Yeah, as long as you're
I
following the
I mean,
terms of service.
yeah, I personally don't have any problem with it.
And like I said,
But
I'll
when
give
you're a
them.
company, you can have a problem with it.
Yeah, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that someone who streams as little as he does probably didn't know that had been
Yeah,
updated. I didn't
exactly.
even know that had been updated until like 2 weeks ago, and someone told me that it had been maybe for a month or 2 months. Like it's something that's recently happened. It's not
Yeah.
some old rule. It's something that was recently added in. So yeah, I
But,
mean it is what it is. I don't expect anything to come of it, but hopefully he just makes better decisions going forward.
yeah. Anyway, um, I think that'll be it for at least for Halo 2 anniversary for sure. My Twitter is Phade. You can catch me there. I'm also playing Xbox now under not under Fade actually, but under my last name Radomski, which is not possible to spell. But you can find me on Twitter, and then we can play some games.
Are you still streaming?
Right now, no. I gotta get a webcam and stuff and finish getting that set up. So for now, no.
All right. Um, I am Phelan, Fail3N, on Twitch, on Twitter. I'm about to get back into streaming. I was gonna start yesterday, and then I decided to work on setting up some stream stuff, like setting up this. I want to get this set up for this cast, things along those lines. Um, so that's gonna be coming down the pipeline. Probably tomorrow I'll start. I plan on doing a New Vegas playthrough, and then when NHL comes out, I'm gonna be all about the NHLs, and then maybe Halo 5. Haven't decided yet. To be determined once Halo 5 comes out. Um, yeah. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, any topics, specifically if you have any topics you want us to discuss in the future weeks, we'd love to hear them because, it's going to be a little dry. So if there's anything you guys want to hear about from us, whether it be, something going forward, something going back, if you want to bring up the old debate of Final Boss versus EDG, whatever it is, let us know. Feel free to send us an email to 4shotpodcast@gmail.com. That's 4 is in the number 4, shotpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys.
The only other thing I'll say is if you have any gameplays, you can send them to the email as well, and we can try and I can do some commentary on them.
Yeah,
You want an old coach to do it.
yeah. Just as a
Um,
background for those who don't know, Phade is a coach, an old coach, and not just someone. Oh, like he attended an event at a team that finished 128th place or something like that. He was on a top ranked team as a coach. What was the team name? I can't remember off the top of my head.
it was Dynasty.
Dynasty. That's right.
Enable to Zoxic, Destin,
APG was
and
there for a little bit.
APG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you've been around the scene. You know some of the big guys. It's not like you're just some random person. You're a top coach, and I don't really have anything great to my resume other than the fact that I have been around the competitive Halo scene since 2004. So just
yeah,
watching and going to events, I've never been on a top team or anything like that, but I know a lot of the history and I definitely have a lot of commentary. I know what should be done and I know how plays should work. That just doesn't mean I can do them. So I would
yeah. No,
probably
I
make a
don't. I
great
don't
coach
want
as
to.
well if I came down to
Yeah,
it. I can't play, but I could. I know what should be going down.
yeah. And I don't want to give the wrong impression. I don't think that I'm the end all be all know everything of Halo. That's definitely not true. But I feel like I can do a good job casting slash commentating on a gameplay. So if
Yeah.
you want, we could do that.
Yeah, so if you guys want any feedback on your game play, any help, anything along those lines, like I said, 4shotpodcast@gmail.com. Shoot us a link. Um, we'll take a look at that. Maybe do a live commentary. Maybe Fate will do it ahead of time. We'll figure it out. Like I said, if there's anything you want us to discuss, let us know. Um, yeah. Other than that, like us, subscribe to us, comment on us, iTunes, YouTube, um,
Please
Stitcher.
don't comment about me.
Feel free to comment about Fade. You can talk
No,
trash to him.
I'm very self conscious over my bald head. So
Talk trash to him all you would like. Um, so yeah, if you have anything, just leave us feedback on there. We'd love to hear from you guys. Anywhere you want to leave feedback, we'd love to hear from it. I check things periodically to see if there's any new comments or emails or anything along those lines. With that being said, we're gonna wrap up the show. We'll be back next week with something. We don't know exactly what the topics will be or anything along those lines, but we'll be back. We'll figure out something to talk about. Um, with that being said, uh, keep those 5-shot pistols on point.
yeah, there you go.